Hello, Cousin David.
Oh, here I hear him. I hear him. Get your video on because I hear you, cousin Peter.
Okay, you
All
see
right.
me?
You were you were there for a moment. I saw a word called sneaky, and then you
Right.
sneakily left. Hold on, I hear you talk. There we go. There
Okay.
we go. This is my cousin Peter. Peter Rosmarin. Hello.
Hello, hello.
You see me? You hear me? Yeah.
I see you. I hear you. Yes.
Yes. Welcome to the 900th episode of Dave's Gone By. You look fantastic.
So glad to be here.
Me too. Oh, that's so good. So, are you home? Where are you? We were in
I'm at
California.
home. I'm at home in Orinda, California.
Uh huh. And how's your? Well, I was going to say how's your summer been, but it's only been 2 days old. How's your year been so far?
How's my
Your year. How
year?
has
Yeah.
2023 been for you?
Uh, Better than the last couple.
Fair. Have you been traveling? Have you been doing stuff? Have you been? What's been up?
I Kathy and I have been doing a fair amount of traveling. Uh, Kathy is still very much into it and wants to go sort of rushing off in all directions at once. She was in Central Asia last year.
With you or just herself? With
Kathy,
you or just herself?
no, herself in a
Okay.
group.
Oh, with them. Yeah, got it.
Group.
Yeah.
Her great passion is textiles. So most of her traveling revolves in some way or another around textiles. So she was in the stands in Central Asia with a group
Sure. Yeah.
to travel and learn about their textiles.
Now, where have you gone with her?
Oh, we've been to Eastern Europe. In fact, with a group, we took a tour about 5, 6 years ago of Eastern Europe, which turned out, in retrospect, it should have been titled "Places Putin Would Like to Invade,"
All right. Well, probably well,
because
all of Eastern Europe, but yeah.
we were in Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania,
Yeah.
Ukraine,
Well,
and Georgia.
what were your memories? What was the best thing or weirdest thing you saw when you were in Ukraine?
The weirdest thing in the Ukraine,
Yeah. Or
I don't
just a
know.
special memory, or what do you remember of visiting Ukraine?
Oh, perhaps the great Orthodox cathedrals and the underground monastery chambers and all that kind of stuff was fascinating. I mean, I find religious fascinating. I'm an atheist who is fascinated by religion because of its.
Well, actually, I should have had Rabbi Saul come talk to you. At what point did you go from Jew, because we know you were born a Jew,
Oh yeah.
to atheist? When did you make the selection that like there is no God, but whatever? When did you make that switch?
Well, through my teens, I started. I read a lot. I've always read a lot, and in my mid-teens, I turning the question over in my head
Yeah.
over and over and over again, and reading many things. I came to the conclusion that it was most unlikely that there was a God. It's still my opinion.
Well, that's what keeps you being. How long have you been with Kathy, by the way? How long have you two been?
About
Yeah.
about 12, 13 years.
Cool. Cool.
And
Mazel.
we
Yeah.
bought a house together, I guess about 7 years ago.
Mhm.
And as you know, about 2 years ago, in the middle of COVID, we just went out and got married.
Oh, I did not know that. I mean, I
Yeah.
know you've been partner for so I didn't realize there was such a new. What? Why, after a decade, the sudden decision to make it "quote unquote" legal?
Who can say? It's hard to say. I guess one good aspect of it was because of the nature of COVID. Uh, Apart from the ring,
Oh,
we got married for about $65.
yeah, that's good. That's yeah, it's a
Thanks to COVID. Thank you, COVID.
yeah. And also, finally, after 10, you got to have sex because
Yeah,
it was okay at that point. You're
yeah.
married, you can get on top of her and do stuff, which is good. So yes, this is my cousin. Say hi, Joyce. Joyce is back in the room.
Hey, Peter.
Hi, Joycey.
Um, so let me ask you also, Peter. Let's remind people and remind me, how are you and I actually related?
You're not.
There's no. I mean, you are related to my father and my grandma. How?
We share we share great grandparents, or I guess my great parents and your okay. Do
Grandpa
you
Louis,
remember Bubby, Dinah?
heard of them. Do not remember them at all. You know.
Okay, my mother is Rivian,
Yes.
daughter of Esther, daughter of Dinah,
Wow.
whom we always called Bubby.
So that's a great grandparent at that point. Yeah. Because Rivian was Rivian was her mom. I knew Rivian. I knew Rivian and Jerry.
Of course. Yeah, yeah.
And so Rivian's mom was Esther, but
Esther.
before that was Dina. Or Dinah, excuse me. Yeah. Okay, so it's really great. Got it. All right, so far. I can never follow these things. Yeah.
No, my great grandparent.
Yeah.
Esther's my grandmother,
Okay.
and
Yes.
that is her. So it's a great grandmother for me,
Right.
and for you, a grandma.
My grandparents were
Grandma's Lucy. Oh yeah, okay, right. Because for each of us, a great grandmother.
Okay.
Her husband, our great grandfather, died a couple of years before I was born, which is why I and your father, his name was
Philip.
Philip.
Yeah.
So that's why 6 or 8 of us have names starting with P.
Oh my. Okay. All right. So, and you have, let's see, so Rivian and Jerry were your parents. I knew Rivian and
Yes.
Jerry. And then you have brother and sister, you know, Lori,
Brother, 2
when you passed,
sisters,
which
one
is
deceased.
sister passed, of course. As right, please tell the story. One of your sisters was Karen,
Yes.
Karen Rosmarin, and she not a happy-ish life in the sense that she
No.
suffered from all sorts of
Suffered terribly, but made the most of it.
yeah. She was mostly blind for much of her life. She had cancers and whatever else.
Right.
Did you get along well with her? Was she was she?
And I?
Did you get along well with?
Oh
Karen?
yes, very well. We were the first and second born, close to 4 years apart, and we always got along very well. And when you were born, she and her first husband Phil were living in the same apartment building as your parents,
Mm-hmm.
and they lived. I think they were just a couple of floors apart.
Well, yeah, I think either down the same hallway or one floor down, and just right down the hallway in our building on Ocean Parkway. And I would hang with them all the time. They
All
were
the time.
hippies. I was 5 years old and hanging with hippies, and they play. They introduced me to the Beatles and to all their kind of music and stuff, and a different way of looking at the world that wasn't promoted by Bialik's school of ocean of having sea and Jewish. But you
So,
can tell since we
so
mentioned
how did your parents ever?
what
What reaction did your parents have to their?
they were not hippies. I was too young,
Not hippies, absolutely not.
but they were relatives. I mean, it's sort of like
Yeah.
I was too young to have any sense of anything, but like I would just go hang with my other cool younger relatives. It wasn't like, and then I'd come back and mom and dad would say, "Oh, they're crazy and don't smoke pot or whatever the hell they were doing." They didn't smoke pot, right? But it's like no, it was just going from one relative to another and hanging with two different kinds of people. I was too, if I'd been 14 or something like that, it would have been different. But I was so young, it was just there. But you gotta tell, since we mentioned Karen, you gotta tell the much more fairly recent now story of the brownies.
The brownies.
You gotta tell the brownies story.
Cookies, yeah.
Oh, the cookies or brownies? Cookies.
Cookies. Big cookies. Well, this is something you got to understand. I was in many ways a very conventional person, and in many ways not. So in college, I drank more than my share of beer and other harder beverages. And when marijuana came along and was being kind of smoked in the corners and whatnot. And I should say, and I was graduated from college in 1965 and went to Berkeley, California for grad school. And by there and then, everybody was smoking grass. And I tried it. And I didn't like it at all. And in fact, I hated cigarettes from the day I was born, even though my mother was
Like a chimney. I remember that. Yeah.
Back a day ago. Anyway, I tried marijuana, didn't like it, went back to beer.
Okay.
Okay, so
that's a setup, folks. That's not the whole story. That's a setup.
So Karen and her fourth. I'm sorry. Let me drop back 5. Coming forward the day when Karen and her 5th husband are living in a small, 4th husband, Gregory, are living in a nice small house in Berkeley. And Karen, after a lifetime of ill health, is dying of lung cancer. And from time to time, I would sit with Karen for an afternoon while her husband Gregory went out for a little,
yeah, you would look after her so he could go and have a break. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there reading a book. Karen is within a few weeks of the end. And I'm reading a book and I go to the refrigerator. I'm hungry because I was there all afternoon. And I see a nice, big, juicy looking cookie. And I take it out and grab it and sit and munch and go on reading my book. Munch. I then, an hour or 2 later, well, I'm still hungry. I find another big cookie and munch it down. And then I start to find difficulty in reading, in seeing the print, in focusing, and keeping my eyes open. And I don't know what's going on. And all of a sudden, I realize that I'm having a problem. I'm seriously ill. I don't know what's going on. I do know I'm about 65 years old and 100 pounds overweight. So I'm saying, oh shit, I'm having a stroke.
So you call the emergency, you call the doctor, or what do you do?
Well, first I yelled to Karen.
Yeah.
Karen, I'm in trouble. Call for help. And Karen, who could hardly speak, somehow gets on her phone with the stentorian voice, and she phones Gregory, who's having.
Yeah, he was outside.
By this time, like a mile away in a restaurant. And then she calls emergency. So by the time Gregory gets back to the house, the emergency personnel have their axe in the air to blast the door open, front door open.
Oh my God.
And Greg runs up and says, wait, stop, I have a key.
That's right, because you couldn't get to the door and Karen couldn't get to the door.
Karen couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I was trying to figure out, I knew I couldn't get up out of the chair. I was trying to figure whether it would be a good idea for me to fall on the floor, let myself fall out of the chair and crawl to the door.
Oh my God.
So I did neither. But
right.
they break in, they come in, and they take me to the hospital in the emergency room.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, you got to imagine the scene there. I'm sitting at Karen's dining room table at one end of it, reading a book, or trying to read a book. Now, within arm's length, the table was covered with Karen's medications.
Right.
And so
yeah.
So the cops and the medics come in and they're looking around and looking around. They're looking at all this medication in front of me. And they're saying, Mr. Rosmarin, do you do any drugs? Do you take any? I can literally hardly speak. I said, no, drugs, sister, cancer.
Yeah.
Look. And they don't. They refuse to go look.
Yeah. Oh.
I guess I'm just babbling. To them, I'm just babbling.
Greg should have pointed them to the room. Greg should have.
So, anyway, so I go off in an ambulance to the hospital, and I spend about 23 hours there testing me. They give me every test known to man. They sent me down the street for scans, and so about 22 hours later, the next afternoon, the doctor comes in and says, we don't know what your problem is. You need to, you may leave here, but you need to see a neurologist. You need to see a neurologist to follow up on this. Then the moment he walks out, I get a call from Gregory, my brother-in-law, and he can hardly stop laughing. And he says, Peter, did you eat those cookies?
And you said, yeah, I had a couple of, and he said,
I ate the cookies. They were almost pure marijuana. I thought they tasted funny.
And so by then, after 23 hours, weren't you almost feeling yourself again too?
I was feeling 95% of normal.
Yeah, I would figure, because how even pure pot, I guess, won't have lasted that long. But that's so like it didn't occur to anyone. That's just I love that true story. This is my family, ladies and gentlemen. This is my cousin Peter Rosmarin out in California. Now, Peter, you have other stories to tell. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Now, don't give it away, but you had someone in a non-sexual way sit on you.
What?
By accident.
What?
When
Yes.
this happened, must have been 1960s, I guess. Was it at Berkeley or what was it? Where did this happen? And then tell me who it was.
Okay. Well, it happened in February 1965 when I was a senior at this small college way upstate New Hampshire.
Okay.
And Malcolm X was coming to visit to speak to the student body and the faculty and the town. And this was, as I said, I think I said in early February, and the college somewhat foolishly decided to fly him up from New York. And why was it foolish? Because Hanover was an isolated northern town of about 5,000 people. It had a sort of a postage stamp airport hanging on the side of a local hill.
Yeah.
And flying in and out was totally unreliable. But anyway, he flew in safely. Okay, his two minders, two student body guys, assigned to act as his hosts, picked him up at the airport, took him to the hotel where he'd stay, took him. They made sure he knew where to be and when, and helped him with anything he needed. So they were kind of assigned for 3 days to be his.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So at the end of the third day, they take him down, they drive him down to the airport. And what do you know? No flights are coming and going for at least 24 hours. So what are they going to do? They take him back to camp and take him to breakfast and whatever. And then they brought him over the place where they and I lived. We lived in a big house in the center of town, about 30 of us. It was kind of like it's a little like a fraternity, but it wasn't a fraternity, whatever. We had this huge social room, which included two gigantic leather sofas parallel to each other. Now, when they came in by mid-morning, I was still sound asleep on one of those sofas under a blanket, probably snoring. Why was I snoring on the sofa? Because my roommate had his girlfriend up.
Well, yeah, you know.
Okay. Right. So I'm still on the sofa, and Malcolm and my two friends come in, and they're engaged in a conversation, engaged to the point that they weren't all that aware of what they're around them. So my two friends, they sit down on one couch, and Malcolm sits down on me.
And
I wake up saying, "What the fuck?" And Malcolm simultaneously jumps up saying, "What the fuck?"
oh my God. Oh.
Invitations were made. Introductions were made.
Yes, good. Hi, this is Malcolm X, and this is
Introductions were made.
yeah.
We shook hands, and
Okay.
he and I sat down on one sofa together. So with my blanket still around me, like
Oh my God. Yeah.
Rosmarin, and the other two guys sitting on the other, and the conversation continued for, I don't know, a couple of hours until they could take him down and put him on a train.
Yeah. Or, so do you remember any aspects of the? Well, I assume it was about race, or was it just about college life?
No, it was about the issues of the day, race and politics and whatnot. The only thing that I remember was his saying that people were out to get him. He didn't expect to live very long. And 2 weeks later, he was assassinated.
Oh, it's too. Whoa.
Weeks.
Wow. Huh. Man. You should have kept him longer on the couch, I'll tell you. Now, you also mentioned that you have a story about basically the diametric opposite of Malcolm X, that you ran into like a politician who was, literally the anti-Malcolm X.
Yeah, you call him that.
Well, okay, so what happened? Is there, did you just meet this person, or was there more?
I think a year or two before that, in the must have been 1963, because in the 1964 presidential election, George Wallace was running for the Democratic nomination. George Wallace, as perhaps some of us remember, was the kind of short, aggressive, outspoken governor of Alabama, who had actually, way back before, was a liberal Alabama politician, and he got beaten by an illiberal Alabama politician. And supposedly he said to himself, "I'm never going to be out niggered again."
Oh, all right. That's, yeah. Although eventually he was, but
He was. Yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, he was running for the 1964 Democratic nomination,
Right.
as running for the Old South, segregation now, segregation forever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is when he was still. This is before he had an assassination attempt, and he was still ambulatory. This was before he was.
Oh, yes, absolutely, yes. And he was an impressive looking. He was short, but had an impressive physique. He had been a college boxer.
Oh my. Okay.
And
Paths cross.
yeah, so he came to speak to a large crowd at this college, and I was out with a sizable minority who were picketing. Not trying to deplatform him, none of that then.
Just to say, don't vote for him.
Just say, yeah, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong, and we don't like you. And then I think the next day, I heard that he was going to have a more private meeting with a few dozen of the so-called campus leaders.
Hmm.
And
Brave. Yeah.
I thought this was interesting. I would not call myself a campus leader, but I knew most of them. And this is something I didn't want to miss. And I knew where it was to be happening, a small auditorium that would hold maybe 100, 125 people.
Oh, yeah.
So I went down there. It had a single entrance exit in the middle of the back wall. And I just opened the door and walked in as they were getting started. Well, I happened to be wearing, I happen to have extremely long hair, curly,
Hmm.
and hadn't shaved in a week or two. I kind of flattered myself that I invented the Arafat look.
All right, that's not a look people would really, even if you liked Yasser Arafat, I would not say that he was the epitome of sartorial splendor.
Right? Maybe not. I like to think I invented it.
There's a
Uh,
cactus with a schmata on his head, basically. Yeah.
no, but I was wearing a fire engine red ski parka.
Wow.
Red.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I walk in. On each side of the door, interior, he had a bodyguard, and they just grabbed me and slammed me against the wall.
Whoa. Oh. Okay.
And George, several people in the UN said, no, we know him. That's Peter. It's fine. But George was cool. He sauntered over, apologized, shook my hand. I wasn't shaking his hand. He was shaking my hand. Want to make that clear.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And he took out of his pocket a George Wallace plastic medallion and handed it to me.
Okay. Do you still have it?
I went to look for it. I thought I had it with my right alongside my Chairman Mao button.
Yeah.
But the Mao button is there and the Wallace medallion is gone. I don't know what happened to it.
Oh, probably corroded and crumbled away. Wow. Wow. So, Cousin Peter, while we still have a little bit of time, we've been talking about all these well-known people, right? Can you tell me some stuff about my family? Like, your parents or my dad, my mom and dad, my grandma and grandpa? Maybe any memories you have of them that I might not.
Oh yeah, I have.
Even if I was alive,
many memories. And uh, my grandma Esther
Mhm.
and Max had a rent-controlled apartment in Brooklyn on Ocean Parkway.
Whoa. Okay.
And in 1950, after my mother had her third child, Jeffrey, and was pregnant with the fourth, and so there were already 7 of us living in that 3-bedroom apartment
Oh my.
on Ocean Avenue.
Oh, so yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
You're not going to find a 4-bedroom apartment all that easily. So yeah, 3 bedrooms pretty good. Yeah.
Jerry and Esther and Max
Right.
and myself, Karen and Jeffrey, and Lori was on the way. So my folks bought a house on Long Island, and your grandma Lucy and Sam moved into that apartment, which
Huh.
remained in the name of Esther Alexander.
Okay. Of
So
your yeah.
it remained in her name, so that it would stay under rent control at that rate.
Oh, clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way Grandma Lucy and Uncle could have afforded a 3-bedroom apartment anywhere. Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow.
But they had that nice 3-bedroom apartment
Yeah.
until your mother moved them to Valley Stream.
Right. Or yeah, near.
I guess.
Wait. Well, my dad and mom lived in Brooklyn. They had an apartment for a little short time, and then they bought the house on Long Island. But that wasn't until I was 13 or 12 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
But
We,
Your mom and dad did not, they did not live in that apartment. I don't.
no, my
No,
mom, we live on an apartment on Ocean Parkway, but
on the other side of the street,
yeah,
down a couple of blocks,
right.
where you live next door to Karen and Philip.
Right. Okay. Yes. Yes.
Right.
So let me ask you: do you have any memories growing up? Because did you grow up in on Long Island? Did you grow up in the Catskills, like or Monroe area, or because I know your family had all of those bungalow things and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Well, I grew up in Brooklyn until I was 7.
Hmm.
Then we moved to the island. We moved to Lynbrook.
Oh my God! Yeah.
And Lynbrook, I don't know if you've noticed, Lynbrook is the reverse of Brooklyn.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
They purposely did. I never knew you guys lived in Lynbrook. I remember. I thought Rivian Jarrow and Cedarhurst. That I
Oh
thought.
no, we were 10 years in Lynbrook.
Okay. Yeah.
The years when I was 7 to 17. So then the family moved to Cedarhurst, but I was already a junior in high school. So
Right. And after
I
that,
really,
you were on your own to go to.
I
When did
really,
you? Yeah. When did you make the move to California? Because I feel like you've been in California a long time, but I guess it's not.
I have. I went in 1965 when I graduated from
Oh, yeah.
moved to Berkeley to go to grad school.
Oh, okay. And you've been there essentially the whole.
I've been there most of the time. Most of the time. My first wife, Adina's career
Right.
took us to Florida for a few years,
Right.
and then a year in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and a year in Stanford, California. But then, when the marriage and all that was over, I came back to the Berkeley area.
What are
And then,
you? What's a great story, a funny story, of your teaching because you were a math professor in various different locales.
yes,
So, do you have any great or terrible memories of being an academic on the fringes of academia, if you will, or not quite on?
uh, well, I was famous for telling jokes in every class.
Good for you. Good for you as well. Yes, you're a Lefkowitz, but I mean you're a Rosemariin. But yes, you're a.
Some of them you couldn't tell even in a bathroom alone today.
Oh, well, it was different times, shall we say? And it was Berkeley or wherever, or was well, various places. Come to
Oh
think.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my,
Most of my teaching was actually at the University of Miami, and it was fun.
good. I mean, you kind of like. So why didn't you give up teaching? Was it just you didn't have to?
Well, I never finished my dissertation,
Hmm.
so I would never be able to get what you might call a good place at a good college and have good students. So,
Right. Yeah.
I was just I was always interested in too many things and couldn't concentrate on
Right. Yeah.
anything really.
So how have you feel? I mean, it's been a long time since you've been a professor. How have you? What do you do with your life? I mean, you travel. You probably enjoy life in California. What do you do?
I read a lot and I hike a lot. I still hike a lot. I used to backpack a lot.
Oh, that's so cool. And
Yeah.
because I remember at one point, this is probably almost a decade ago, you had knee things, so you had to stop being so physically active because you hurt something. But then you could go back to it. And now,
I've had a number of serious health issues. I came back from all of them. I had prostate cancer. I have prostate cancer. I had it. Oh yeah. Well, I had it prostate removed. I guess 8 years ago, and everything turned out as well as it could possibly have turned out.
obviously. Can you do? I do pee. I mean, how do you have a? Do you just pee like a normal person, or what do you do? Or do you have a?
Well, even more frequently than a normal person.
No, I know if they were, they took half my dad's stomach out, so he had a bag and this and all the crap, but that's different, totally
Yeah,
different thing.
totally.
I had no idea you had. Wow, wow. What else? What else have you suffered in the past decade or
Well,
so?
I have an almost insatiable appetite for food. I've been spent a chunk of my life weighing 290.
You don't. How old? How much do you weigh these days? You do not look even overweight.
around 195.
You're not, how did you manage? Did you go on, or how do you do it?
I just try to control my appetite and try to eat and get a lot of exercise, mostly hiking.
Hiking, the walking, the et cetera, and so forth. No, because you look great. I mean, I'm not just being nice.
Thank you.
You look terrific, right?
I'll be 80 in August.
Allebei, Mazel McGlick.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Do you have? By the way, Joyce is here. Do you have any questions for my cousin Peter, or any memories, or any?
Well, what's he up
She doesn't know you the way, obviously, we do.
What's he up to now?
Well, yeah. Are you? Do you hike? Do you walk every day? Do you?
I tend to walk every other day.
Mhm. And you've been traveling and visiting family and things like that. You do that, right?
Yeah.
So this is so cool. We've been talking with my cousin Peter. I do want to ask a memory or two. Oh, yeah.
Does Peter live in the same house when we met him that time? Is he still there?
When we came out to Cali, my God, almost maybe a decade ago.
More than that.
And you were in Orinda, or you were near Oakland, I think, or are
We're
you?
in Orinda. I think you visited me in Oakland.
So it's a different area. But do you have any memories of Greg Welter? So Greg was you mentioned him before. Greg was Karen's fourth husband.
Yes. You know, he died a couple
very much, and he died just a few weeks ago.
a couple months.
Oh, that's right. A couple
months. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I just had the memorial for him like a week, which I didn't know about, so I didn't tune in because it was a Zoom thing.
Yeah.
But any memories of Greg?
I think David, there was.
Oh yeah, sure.
There.
What was that? Yeah.
Greg was a character.
How did Peter? How do you know how they met? Karen told me, but I forgot.
How did she meet Greg?
Greg had come out from the Midwest where he grew up, and he wanted to have a look at California. And one of the first, if not the first, jobs he got was working in a little office where this is before cell phones.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, he was the message taker, right? Yeah.
That's right. He was the message taker. He sat in front of the phone, and if a phone call came from Karen and she wasn't there or didn't want to take it, it would switch to this office in downtown Berkeley, where Greg or somebody in that office would pick it up and say, "Karen's line, may I take a message?" And then Karen when Karen would from time to time phone in to get her messages, which were delivered to her vocally in person by the person who had answered the phone and written it down.
And that's wow.
Such a great way to meet.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's not. I can't imagine it happens anymore. But that is so cool.
And that's how they met.
How did you meet Kathy? How did you meet Kathy?
Yeah. You've heard of the Commonwealth Club in California?
No.
It's a large organization of people centered in San Francisco, of people who take an interest in current events. And it sets up lectures mainly. And you can go, if you remember, you can go into their headquarters in San Francisco and hear a lecture on politics, art, music, whatever.
Cool.
If you want to. And of course, all this is 99% online now.
Well, sure.
Well, I tell Peter, the Commonwealth Club is also a private gentleman's club in Richmond, Virginia. So,
okay.
Are they affiliated? No, totally different. Totally different kind of a thing there.
But Kathy and I met at such a meeting. It was not in their downtown headquarters. It happened to be in the Lafayette Public Library. Lafayette is one village over from where I sit now.
Wow.
And the theme was a 95-year-old physician lecturing on how to live to be 100 and enjoy it.
Awesome.
By the way, did he end up living to 100? Do you know? Did you check and see if he actually made it to 100? After you give a lecture?
I think he just died at 99.
All right, close. Pretty,
Yeah.
pretty good.
Kathy was particularly interested because one of her grandmothers lived to 106.
Nice. Nice.
And I was interested because it sounded like, I might meet somebody there.
Oh,
I'm a
you
Kathy.
were in the market for, yeah, okay.
I met Kathy.
Well, that's so,
Like, were you sitting next to each other, or did you meet each other while you were online for the tickets, or like?
Was there a herring buffet afterwards?
Yeah,
like
buffet.
yeah.
I got there, when I got there, I'm walking up, I see there's a petite little lady standing off to one side, and near to the entrance, there's a Jewish looking couple. So I walked up to the Jewish looking couple and started telling jokes. We started exchanging jokes.
Jews. This is Jews. Yes, you're not an atheist, Peter. I'm sorry. You can say you're an atheist, but you're a Jew through and
Of course.
Tell
Have I
jokes.
denied it? I have not denied it.
And
Yes, I am.
but so you
And
tell.
then, as anyway, so
Kathy walk
as
off.
we're moving in with the Commonwealth Club, you get a little glass of wine, bad wine. They give you a little glass of bad wine.
Sure.
And then so when she was walking in, I said hello, introduced myself, and said, "Could I get you a glass of wine?" And she said yes. And we sat next to each other.
Good. And then that was it. Well done, Peter. And Mazel Tov on was it 13 years together, 2 years
They could have.
as couple.
You should have gotten married at that Commonwealth Club. That would have been.
That would have been cute.
Anniversary, maybe anniversary.
It didn't occur to us, but it was yeah.
That's a cute idea. Maybe for your 15th, as or your 5th anniversary married or something like that. That'd be so cool. Anyway, it has been absolutely lovely and fun talking to my actual cousin. First of all, not only best wishes to you and Catherine, but best wishes to your remaining sibling. How can I say? But Karen's gone. But Lori, how's Lori doing? They just got back from Portugal, right?
They're just I think they're getting back tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow, right?
They just go everywhere.
She's there with the whole family, the whole entourage.
Yay.
And
What?
Lori and Rob have little health issues that I wish they didn't. Nothing,
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Not as lucky as I am.
Well, considering that you've gotten over prostate cancer, you've had health issues too. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you? I'm not to bring up anything, but have you heard from Jeffrey? Anything about Jeffrey? Do we wish him well?
I wish him well. Haven't heard from him. Don't expect to. I understand he's estranged from his 2 sons. I hear.
All right. This is his other brother.
All very sad. All very sad.
So sorry to hear that. This is just asking to keep tabs on family. I'm not the best, like some family people I call every week. I'm like,
Right.
how you doing? I said a holiday. I don't. But at least this show is a way for me to do this kind of checking in and connecting.
I'm so glad you called.
Me
Yeah.
too. I want to get you, back maybe next year or something to get you on, or maybe play some trivia with you on the show.
Maybe Peter's wife could do some knitting or some crafts and do some
Textiles. Can she knit me some textiles?
I'll
bring on your show.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, she can.
Not just for you.
Well, she can create a scarf and then, is it a scarf a textile? I guess it is.
Unless it's made of plastic.
David, what is this like? Is this like the?
I don't know. When was the last time you used the word textile?
When children work in factories making textiles.
Well, she isn't. He said she's an expert in textiles. This is her thing. So I don't even know.
Textile. It's like Natalie's sister too. But Natalie's more like it's a different continent. But
yeah,
like anything that's probably like thread or or like what do you call that? Fabric. I couldn't think of the word.
Anything fabric. Yeah. So I had a scarf and booties. I love wearing little footy booties in the winter.
She could remember when your Aunt Esther made a scarf for potato.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a lower lift because they're small.
So we have a potato here. He's almost naked except for the hat and a ribbon. She can
That's a taste on its head, yeah.
Or she could knit him a little red parka.
There you go. Now, we leave it up there, but we do want to get you back soon on the show, and bring Kathy too. So we because she's family too now. I mean, she was ever since we were dating her, but now she's officially like married, legal family. Oh my gosh! Shalom, Kathy, my cousin. Hello, Kathy, and hello to you, and hello to.
I think the word, David, is mazel.
Mazel. You don't. My God, forgive me. You don't have kids, do you? Do you have kids?
Heather and Alex.
Wow, I didn't even ask about them. What do they do? How are they?
Didn't they also go to Berkeley, or Peter? Right? I think someone's a lawyer, or maybe that's. I don't know.
Heather's a lawyer, although she's not lawyering lately. She's spending her time in environmental work.
Wow.
All right.
About 3 years ago, she's never married and unable to have children. She adopted a 12-year-old girl from Colombia.
Oh my God! Wow. So you're a grandpa.
I'm a grandpa.
Wonderful, you're a grandpa. I did not know. All right, mazel. And what about Alex?
Alex is never married. Alex does what Alex does. He's about 6'3".
Was he the Unabomber? I mean, you make him sound like so mysterious.
He's unique.
Yeah.
Like all males in your family.
Except me. Yeah. So he's 6'3" and
he's an artist.
Oh,
he
there we go.
Paints and draws.
Oh, cool. For commercial, I mean, what does he do? I mean, artistically, commercially, what does he do?
Well, he tries to sell. Doesn't,
Tell him about the Randy Newman story about his son.
Yeah, no, this will make you feel better about your kid. We were just watching on a clip from like 35 years ago on David Letterman. Randy Newman was on Letterman, and Randy Newman,
composer.
Yeah, the singer, songwriter, composer, film scorer, Randy Newman.
Yeah.
And Letterman asked him that he has a kid of his own. He has Amos Newman, and Letterman asked him, and at this point the kid was a teenager.
Yeah.
So Letterman asks Randy Newman, so what is your kid? Oh, he does the music. Fine. He's got a band. It's called Smashed Infant. Which is like, but Newman was so dismissive. I mean, it was a fun kind of dismissive.
What was the name of it?
They named it something like Ray or Rampant Anger.
Something like Combat Assault.
Yeah, they picked up better. They changed the band name, but Newman was kind of like, yeah, he's in music. He didn't seem particularly excited about his kid's chances in the music industry doing what he was doing.
Well, with the Smash the Infant, he didn't think that.
But flash forward 30 years later, the kid is like head of music placement in movies for Warner Brothers Entertainment. He's like this major figure in putting music in movies, and it's like, and Randy's appeared with him in talks and things like that. So, if you're worried about your son's art career, let him do what he wants to do with.
That's what he wants. That's what he does.
He's eating. He's got a roof over his head. That's really it. Really is all.
You say that as
he has a whole. Actually, he has a whole house over his head. He lives in a basement.
Oh, this is nice.
Ow, that might be painful.
Fortunately, not mine.
Oh, come on! You want your own kid? I guess maybe not after a certain point. I lived at home until I was 30-something. So.
Okay.
I lived at home until I got married.
No, I had a year in New York. I did not.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I did. But anyway, cousin Peter Rosmarin, thank you for appearing with us in the neighborhood on our 900th episode of Dave's Gone By. It's been an absolute pleasure. Good health.
Certainly glad to be here. Yeah.
So I'm gonna.
And Joycey, I don't get to see you?
I don't go on the camera, Peter.
Yeah.
Okay.
She weighs about 600 pounds now. She's got skin like an antelope.
I didn't shave my mustache or any of my body hairs.
Okay.
Well, she looks just as you remember her, but she just doesn't like to get. And she doesn't want to appear, like if there's evidence that she's on this program and I say something, that's her academic career. So she's being real careful.
No, but I don't like pictures. Every picture on my phone is of you.
Yeah, absolutely. She takes a zillion pictures of me, which I don't mind.
You could show Peter what I look like here. I'll give you the picture.
What?
No, you're gonna.
I can't. If I show it.
No, I'm going to show you a picture, and you could show Peter. Give me 1 second.
Oh, here it is. So it's going to be an amusing way to end this segment of Dave's Gone By on this June 24th, 2023. Joyce is swiping to find a.
Just entertain Peter while I find the.
Hey, cousin Peter. It is really good to see you, and I wish you much health. And are you going to come back to New York to see my, family in New York at all over the next year or two?
Yeah,
we'll be in.
Here's me and Joyce.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. She's very cuddly. I gotta say that. So yeah. Are you gonna? I mean,
we expect to be east for Thanksgiving.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, McMassel. Oh, I wish. Well, we won't.
Hard to say. So that means Albany, New York. We haven't been down the city in a while. Maybe we can make it this year. I will.
You can see my
people
mom.
think like when you go to see your sister in New York is very far from New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's like a 1 hour drive. You're way far up in the.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
It's a big trip. It's not
okay,
like
so great to see you.
You too, my man. Thank you so much, cousin Peter Rosmarin. Have a great one, and talk to you soon. Bye bye now.
Yes. Bye bye.